been really pleased to have Jimmy and Anita here with us this week. I hope all of you have had a chance to speak with them at some point, as much as possible. Sister Anita, we'll let you go first this morning. Have something to say.
Good morning. Good morning. Day number 2. We had a good session yesterday. And what I'd really like to say thank you for is all the agricultural advocacy you do. I have a quick story. You know, down south we have those hurricanes. A few years ago, I think it was about 08, one of them hit Houston. And probably didn't do a thing for you guys, but it shut down the oil refineries. In my little area of North Carolina, one day I went to work and I thought, gee, I need to get gas this afternoon on my way home. I made the mistake of not getting it at lunch. Because by the time I got off, it had jumped close to 30 cents a gallon. By the time I got home, there was no gas. I mean, by the time I got off work, there was no gas. I went to the first gas station, it was completely closed. Went to the next gas station, completely closed. And that was in the town where I worked. By the time I get to my little town, I went past where I live looking for gas. And I finally decided I'd better go home. And it was the first time in my life that I had been without a commodity that I needed, ever. And so it took us a few days to get to the point where we knew when the gas was coming in. Now, in a crisis like that, the best of people come out. And there were people who would push cars along because they would run out of gas, waiting in the lines, trying to get gasoline. And the worst comes out in people. The police were called out because fights broke out. Because the person in front of one person was the last person to get gasoline. What if that had been food? People will shoot you for food. So, I would like to say thank you for having had that experience. Thank you for your advocacy. And it's been a wonderful session. I've loved getting to know you. And I'm finding a lot of similarities between Maine and North Carolina. Thank you.
Good morning. Boy, it is good to be in Maine. The sun is shining today. So we are having the opportunity to experience both rain and sun in Maine. And that's just wonderful. So I've learned that since I've been here that you're referred to as Mainers. Well, I have heard Laniacs. I have heard that one. But not Mainites or Mainists, Mainers. But if you belong to the Grange, are you Mangers? Sounds reasonable to me. I want to tell you about Bob and Chris. Bob and Chris own a very substantial dairy operation just outside of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. It's a very well-known dairy operation. They process their own milk and their own ice cream, and they sell it in the supermarkets in the local area there. In addition, they have their own store on the farm where you can go to buy milk and ice cream. A delightful couple that belong to one of our Granges there in North Carolina. And I'm telling you about Bob and Chris simply because they came to North Carolina from Maine. Just outside of Bangor, they had a dairy farm there. Bangor. Well, y'all say it the way you want to, but in the South it's Bangor. Come to think of it, Bob calls it Bangor also when he talks about it. Bob still has his Maine accent. Now, Bob's probably in the neighborhood of 80 years old. But they're just this wonderfully delightful couple that used to be here that certainly we are so glad to have in North Carolina serving as a Grange there. So my message to you is, We want about 2,000, 3,000 more of you to move to North Carolina and join the Grange down there, and it will really help our membership numbers. So if you would do that, I would appreciate it. Thank you, Jim.
I'm sure if they're here long enough, we can teach them the proper way to speak.